Okay, go ahead.
The following is the agenda for the regular Borough Council meeting of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Mayor and Council, and Municipal Corporation in the County of Passaic. The meeting will begin at 7 p.m. on April 8, 2026, in the Municipal Building, 25 Lennox Avenue, Pompton Lake, consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act. The meeting will be open for public comments and shall be in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Borough's Municipal Code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless this mayor and council as they deliberate on the best of Pompton Lakes.
Amen.
Say amen. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all requested and paid for same, and published in the Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Kent.
Here.
Councilman Bay.
Here.
Councilman is excused.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Here.
Councilman Santos.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney Mark Semeraro, our Borough Administrator Michael Corelli, Police Chief Anthony Rodriguez, Chief Financial Officer Peter George, Borough Auditor Dave Bucky, and myself.
Okay, thank you. Under my presentations, I have a presentation from the Women's Club, and, how many members now?
Over 100.
They have over 100 members in the Women's Club. Very impressive group to have 100 members in that are very involved, do a lot of things in helping the community and helping the residents in the town. So this is one of the things they do. So I'm going to ask all the Women's Club members to come on up forward, including ourselves and our borough clerk. Maybe the borough clerk can't come up. I don't know. She's busy. You want somebody else to push the button?
No.
You want to do a speech? No. You can?
Maybe later.
This is a proclamation from the office of the mayor. Whereas our children are the most valuable resource and we shape the future of the borough, who shape the future of the borough of Pompton Lakes. Childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every segment of the community, and finding solutions require input and action for everyone. Childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. Protective factors and conditions that reduce the limiting risk and promote the social, emotional, and development well-being of our children. As communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that build strong children and families. We acknowledge that we must work together as a community in partnership to build awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. Now, therefore, I, Michael Sarah, Mayor of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, in the County of Passaic, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in the Borough of Pompton Lakes, and urge all my fellow residents to become involved in efforts to prevent our children from being abused and neglected. Thank you, ladies. Does anybody want to say anything? Thank you. You good?
No.
Nope. Yeah. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pass it on to the rest of the group, please. Okay, next on the agenda here is the municipal budget. I'm going to start with our administrator, and he's going to get some help from our people.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. So we're here tonight with the introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. As a follow-up to the March 4th, 2026 special budget meeting, tonight the CFO, Borough Auditor, and I are presenting again the introduction of the 2026 municipal budget. The final adoption pending council's approval is scheduled for the May 13th, 2026 council meeting, at which point we will take public comment from residents on the budget and answer any questions or concerns. Again, tonight is just an educational effort for the residents, and if there's any questions from the governing body at any point, please feel free to interrupt me. Just again wanted to thank the mayor and council and the respective committees for all the hard work that they put in throughout the year, especially with the municipal budget. This slide highlights all of our borough professionals, including Chief Rodriguez, Borough Clerk and Deputy Administrator Elizabeth Bransness, Peter George, our CFO, and Dave Baki, our Borough Auditor, and our Borough Attorney Mark Semerero, who are all here in attendance tonight. So we thank them for their hard work among all of our other department heads and employees, especially with their input with the municipal budget. It's greatly appreciated, again, for all their hard work. So to go through the PowerPoint, we're going to start with the 2025 budget. We're going to go over historical data, major accomplishments, and then get into the 2026 municipal budget. So to look at the tax analysis and review of last year's 2025 budget, the total tax rate was 4.131, which amounts to an average tax bill of $11,553 for the average resident. And above, you'll see the breakdown of your municipal, county, school, local municipal, and local open space tax, which is all broken down here. As you can see, the largest impact here in Pompton Lakes and also throughout most of New Jersey is our school tax. The municipal tax only makes up about $2,700 of, again, the total average tax bill of $11,000.
And the library bill is a mandate from the state.
Yes, the library is a statutory piece of our budget that we're required to fund every year. Again, this is just a breakdown, again, of our 2025 tax bill. It just shows the school, county, and municipal portions respectively. The $2,749, that is what is the municipal budget portion, is broken down into several pieces. We have our municipal budget, which again was $2,749, which is $229 per month for the average resident. What goes into that includes debt service and our open space trust fund, which are some of our key highlights that we'd like to showcase in our PowerPoint. The debt service for last year was $1.4 million, which again includes all of our capital debt from prior projects that we bonded for. And that amounts to $214 out of the $2,700 that's in the budget. Again, only $17 per month to fund all the debt. It's 7.8% of our budget from last year. And again, the Open Space Trust Fund, which is authorized via a local referendum, is $28. It's only $2.33 per month for the average resident to fund all of our open space initiatives, which includes upgrades to our parks and our playgrounds and all of the many other projects that we do throughout the year. How are taxes calculated? The taxes have two sides to it. You have the municipal tax levy, which equals our state aid. We look at revenue, grants, and our surplus, which is otherwise known as our fund balance. And we also look at the net valuation, which is the annual assessed value of the borough, which we'll go over in a few minutes. How do we keep taxes stable? Again, we talk about this every year, but it's all about increasing revenue, reducing the budget appropriations, which is our spending, utilizing more surplus when available and if allowable, and increasing state aid. We did receive word from the governor's office that all of our state aid has remained flat for this year, so we're not losing any state aid. We did lose state aid last year, but we're flat this year, which is good for our budget. The tax rate is calculated by the municipal tax levy divided by the net valuation taxable, which was 1.1 billion last year, times by 100. So our tax rate last year was 0.983. Some major accomplishments that we've seen in the past year include the Dawes Highway Improvements Project. We resurfaced all of Dawes Highway using a DOT municipal aid grant. We are in the process of resurfacing Waterville and Albany Ave, which is expected to be completed in the next 2 weeks, so we're excited about that. Last year, we also paved Spruce Street, Laurel Ave, and the Hirschfield Park basketball court. We did ADA curb ramp upgrades along Lakeside Ave. The Meridia Capadagli redevelopment project is ongoing and expected to be completed this year. We have Hirschfield Park Phase 1 and 2, which consisted of the playground and upgrades to the storage building, which is set to be finished in the coming weeks. We have the pedestrian bridge replacement at Hirschfield Park, which actually was just set on its pedestal yesterday, so we're excited about that. Again, last year we funded all new street signs on the south end of town. The year prior, we funded the north end, so that completes our street sign replacement program. And we have seen upgrades to the borough's Civic Center, which is set to open in the next month or two. And we also funded borough security camera installations throughout all of our parks. So those are just some key highlights that we completed successfully last year. What's on the horizon for Pompton Lakes? We have this year the Lakeside Ave Phase 1 Improvements Project, which is in process. We're going to be paving Lakeside Ave from Van Ave to Jefferson Ave. And again, we received one of the highest non-Hudson County town state aid grants throughout the whole state of New Jersey for this project. So we're very proud of that and looking forward to that project. We also have a grant from Passaic County to fund ADA curb ramp replacements on Edwards Avenue, Riverview Road, among many other streets on the south end. So that is planned for this year. We're also looking at future plans for Hirschfield Park, which include walking paths once the county finishes the pedestrian bridge project. We have river projects, IT and computer upgrades. We have vehicle replacements. We are going to be funding a new apparatus for the first aid squad, which is something that we're planning for. Again, we have the DPW garage, which you're going to hear about later in our meeting tonight. We have some good news about that. The fire department, looking at apparatus replacements. We have DPW garbage truck replacements, which are coming up on the horizon. And we have open space projects, such as the Lakeside Park Pavilion, the bulkhead, and the dock expansion project that Council President Kent and I have been working on and are looking forward to that.
And I'm just going to jump in and say, we have a great fire department volunteer and a great ambulance squad volunteer. They do an outstanding job, and we owe a great deal of credit to them. But we have to pay for the appliances that go into that, the fire trucks, the ambulance squad, the buildings, those things. That comes from the town budget. Okay, so that is a nice chunk of change when it goes out to support these groups that are very much needed in our town.
Thank you. So now we're going to segue into our 2026 budget. We're looking at things like keeping Pompton Lakes affordable, increased communications, investing in our public safety and infrastructure, and upgrading our open space and public park areas. So those are some of the priorities of the governing body for the year. The budget, again, consists of the assessed valuation, revenue, state aid, fund balance, which is otherwise known as surplus, and our tax levy. This slide showcases the assessed value of the borough, broken down by property type. So it goes through vacant land, residential, commercial, what properties are exempt, such as veteran deductions or veteran exemptions, rather, among many other exceptions that there may be. You will note that our total assessment has been reduced since 2025, so that is affecting the total tax bill. So, it has to do with the market, but if there's any questions about that, the auditor or CFO can address that. but we're seeing trends in commercial properties go down, which is affecting us among, so many other things.
And the vacant land is the buyouts for the flood. A lot of them are the buyouts for the flood, correct?
Yes, so we have 60 vacant properties in Pompton Lakes, which, is on the higher end. Usually you see about 15 to 20, but it is affecting us. It only makes up 0.5% of the total assessment, but it does affect us.
So for the public watching at home, when the state comes in with a program and it's a buyout and they buy a home and they tear it down, it's great for that homeowner, it's great for the town, less people we have to get into, but we also lose the tax revenue on that property. They do not pick up the tax revenue, which would be a big push on my point for the state to pick up the loss of the taxes, but they don't seem to want to do that. So that's what happens sometimes. It's a double-edged sword there. We get rid of the homes that are in trouble, but we lose the tax dollars.
Thank you. This slide just, again, breaks it down in a chart. So talking about our budget, as many other municipalities are facing their budget, all are in crisis mode regarding health benefits and many other problems which we're going to go into. One of our issues this year is our revenue. Our revenue is down about $500,000. The three key drivers to that is our sale of municipal assets is down due to the delay of the sale of the borough's radio station, which is in the final process right now, and we're expecting that to be anticipated in this year's budget, so we're not going to have that problem for next year. And we're able to re-anticipate that as revenue for next year. We're also down in UCC construction permits, wholly due to the fact that in 2024 we received a very large permit from Meridia, and this year we have to make up for that because we had such a large amount of revenue last year. We're kind of in the hole right now. So we're looking to recoup that for next year. We have some good projects coming up regarding the Sujan property, the Washington building, among many other projects that are going to help us for this year's budget for next year. So we're looking forward to that. And the third key driver was our interest on investments with the bank was a little bit down, but we're looking at that with our bank provider right now and hoping to resolve that for next year. Here are some notable revenue results. We did anticipate more or increased revenue on the interest on cost and taxes and our alcoholic beverage control licenses, which we increased those fees last year. So you're seeing the result of that right now in this year's budget. And again, the UCC and sale of municipal assets is down, and our reserve for pilots, which is what we collect every year for all of our redevelopment pilot projects, stands at 188. We are anticipating more for next year because those pilot redevelopment projects, those pilot amounts are increased for next year due to those developers receiving increased revenue as part of their projects. So I think we're looking at about $220,000 to $230,000 for next year, and it only goes up from there. Right here we have our slide about our fund balance, which again is otherwise known as our surplus. I'm going to defer to our auditor for a second to talk about where we are with our surplus.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, again.
Yeah, surplus is down, just like it's down in almost every town I've done this year. Has to do with what Mike was saying about the revenues being lower than we anticipated. So that hurts. Our expenses were higher, so we weren't getting to lapse money into surplus from the year before. And it's just basically the health benefits that's killing every municipality and school in the state. So hopefully it'll get better from here on out. The revenues, you'll be able to anticipate more revenues for your pilot, and that's pretty much it to say. I mean, it's mostly just, like I said, health benefits and lower revenues because we had the, like Mike said, the sale of the radio station. We anticipated it, we didn't get it, so that's money that we basically gets deducted from our fund balance. And same with the construction fees. So, like you said, there's a new project coming or continuing that might generate more. So, be on the positive side, and hopefully it gets better this year.
So what both the gentlemen said is true. I just want the public to understand. The radio station, we sold it, was supposed to be sold this year. We had a little glitch in the sale. There was something that had to be repaired, and that carried us into next year. So we anticipated knowing we'd have that money for this year. Unfortunately, it didn't come in. We will have that money. It will just be next year. And the pilots that they're all talking about, as Michael mentioned, they're only going to grow from here and get bigger and bigger. So the first year of the Meridian pilot, when they're 80% occupancy, is $350,000 just for that one project. Okay, we're looking at $188,000 for all our projects right now. So this is a big number as time goes on, and that number increases from $350,000 after 30 years to up to $1 million in the 30th year. That is a big revenue boost for this town, for a small community. That's where we're going to make some money back, because we don't have an industrial park. We don't have those kind of options in front of us. This, I understand, and some residents are concerned about the building. It's a balancing act. We're not making Hoboken here in Pompton Lakes, but at the same time, we have to bring in some tax dollars to offset these costs that are just rising out of control.
I just wanted to highlight again with the radio station. So we're re-anticipating $275,000. We sold it for $450,000. So that extra money above and beyond the $275,000 will lapse to our fund balance. So we're using a strategy to try to increase our fund balance for next year by not anticipating the whole amount. And when you anticipate the whole amount and then it falls off for the next year, you're in the hole for that amount within that upcoming budget year. So that's why we didn't anticipate the full amount. We could have anticipated the full amount to further reduce, but we would have only been kicking the can. So again, we recommended against that. Again, this is just a 10-year fund balance history, which shows our surplus throughout the past 10 years. The next slide talks about our general debt service. Our debt service for this year is about $1,017,350. The good news is that in 2 years, our fund balance for the 2028 municipal budget will be decreased about $300,000. So we're going to see a drop off there at some point, which we'll be able to deal with at that point. The next slide talks about our note sales. So we do have a pending note. We have to go back out to note sale on June 5th of 2026. The note amount is $4.3 million, and highlighted in this PowerPoint here is all of the pending ordinances. The red ordinance at the bottom is a new ordinance that's being added to the note sale, and that was for the Willow Field Improvements Project. So that'll be in our upcoming note sale, at which point it will be considered. The budget, again, we talk about police and fire, public works, construction, and code enforcement. Part of our budget includes our first aid squad, our rec department, any senior citizen events and programs, garbage collection, open space projects, and general services throughout the borough. Our appropriations for salary and wages is up in a total amount of only $253,000. That's actually a really good increase. Typically, you see about $500,000 to $1 million based on the CBAs. But we did have a very good year with our salary and wage budgets, solely due to some retirements in the police department and some other departments that we were able to anticipate in the budget. So it did help us. Some budgets that have been decreased include general services with the shared service agreement for the borough administrator. We have finance with our new shared service with Oakland for our tax collector services. Land use is up a little bit. We have public safety, which is up $118,000. It could be a lot worse if we didn't have any of those retirements. Public works is up due to contractual increases, snow overtime, among many other things. And you'll see here at the bottom, we have our library statutory obligation, which was increased a little bit.
I think that we're going over this, but we didn't make any cuts to services, and at the same time had to honor our union contracts that the unions have. So that number that he's promoting there is including all of that. So that is, I've been doing this a while. That's a good number considering we have contract negotiations for all our unions, new employees coming in, a lot of shared service, a lot of older retirees leaving, and younger people coming in to help us get the cost down. That number could be a lot worse if we had to.
And to the mayor's point, we're on the back end of some of our collective bargaining agreements. you'll typically find, and I know the borough attorney can attest to this, on the back end of the agreements, typically the amounts are higher. That's just typically how it's worked out. So we seem to be managing good considering we're near the end of all of our 3 CBAs that are set to expire next year. Again, this is just a breakdown of the salary and wages. Our police department, fire department, and OEM make up 60% of our budget in terms of salary and wages. Next, we have our operating budgets. General services is up due to computer upgrades, county election costs, which have been skyrocketing within the past 2 years. We have our finance department with auditing and bond counsel costs. We have an employee who's taking their tax collector classes, and our pilot billing costs, which are taken out of this account.
And just for the public's agenda, when it comes to elections, the state or the county does not pay for that. The towns pay for that. So when those increases go up, we as taxpayers in each individual town have to pay that. You would think the county would pick up the cost or the state. They do not.
And then we also have the land use department, which has a slight increase. The next slide looks at our public safety, including our police department, our OEM, court, fire department, and our fire prevention bureau. We have a slight increase due to contractual software maintenance contracts with the police department, among fire department equipment needs. So you'll see a slight increase there. We have an increase in our public works section due to the solid waste tipping fee for recycling and our vehicle maintenance costs, which have been increased in the past year due to aging garbage trucks. We have our Board of Health. You'll note a significant decrease there. That's due to our amendment to our shared service with Wayne Township, where we authorized public health nurse services with Wayne. So we are seeing a savings of $12,000 there. And all of our board, commission, committee budgets are down. You'll see a significant decrease, but that's due to some reallocation of funding for the lake management services, which was originally included in the flood advisory board budget, but has since been moved to the EPC budget because EPC is typically the folks that handle that. So that's why you see that there. And again, this slide is just a breakdown of all of those operating expenses, with public works being the highest among all of our departments. And then we have what's called our miscellaneous budgets. Miscellaneous looks at things like legal, borough engineer services, of course our health benefits, our property and liability insurance costs. You have unemployment, state disability, and pension and contributions to our first aid squad and fire departments. You'll see, namely with our health benefits, the premium amounts are up $1 million, but on this slide it only shows an increase of $713,000 because some of that was taken outside the cap, and also we have our health benefit waivers, which is included in this. So the overall budget's up $713,000, but the premiums were up $1 million. So again, that's one of our key drivers, which we'll go over in a minute. And then the back half of our miscellaneous budgets, we have our pension. Some good news for this year, our PERS, which is our non-police and fire pension folks, the amount decreased, which is unheard of, but that's solely due to the fact that in 2024, we had less employees than we did in 2023. Pension is always 2 years behind. So you're going to see that increase coming up because we have retained more staff than we have in 2023 and 2024. But the good news for this year's budget is that it was able to be decreased. You will also notice a significant increase in our shared service lines. That's due to including the operating expenses for the shared service for the Borough of Oakland. On the revenue side, that offsets. So although you see an increase right here, it's not increased. We're actually making $100,000 in profit this year off of that shared service, plus or minus, depending on which contracts we award and where the salaries end up for all the new hires.
And that's a half year of
That's a
this.
half year.
Right, so that's only a half year because we're not starting the program until June.
And to that point, to the mayor's point, for next year, our anticipated profit for that is $230,000. So we're going to see some increase there for next year's budget, which will significantly help us. Okay, and then the last item on this slide is our deferred charge. As you recall, last year we had to authorize an emergency appropriation for legal and vehicle maintenance costs. Again, our garbage trucks are in really bad disrepair, and we had to fund extra repairs for the DPW to fix our garbage trucks. A deferred charge means that we didn't have the money in the budget last year. We had to authorize a special emergency appropriation for this year, and basically that amount has to be included in this year's budget statutorily. So we're having to deal with that in this budget right now. Our total appropriations is up only 4.67%. That's actually really good considering prior years. Again, our issue this year is more so with revenues than it is with our spending. Our spending is pretty in check. It's our revenues that we're having problems with.
And let me just jump in on the spending side of it. That's the council that you see up here being smart on how they do things on spending. Okay, it can easily get out of control very quickly, but I can tell you this council does a good job in trying to keep track of how we spend our money and where it goes.
Thank you. So now we're going to look at some of our key drivers. So 5 out of the 7 key drivers are contractual or statutory driven. So we have our police department salary and wages, that's contractual. We have our police department other expenses, which is discretionary. We have health benefits, which again is statutory. We have vehicle maintenance, which is discretionary. We have a significant increase in that budget. We have legal, we have our police and fire pension, and we have our solid waste disposal contract, which is up $25,000. So with all of our key drivers, our budget in those accounts are up $1.3 million. However, in the other accounts that we have, those accounts are down. So although you see $1.3 million, our spending is only up 4.67%, because in many of our other accounts, we were able to sharpen our pencil, if you will.
And just to explain the health benefits for people who don't understand, that's given through the state program. Okay, we have no control or say on that. The state sets those numbers. So any town that's involved with the state health program, which is many, they got the same increase as us. There's no difference between our town and any other town. And it's not an arguable point. It's not something we can go. We are going to try to shop it out in the next year or two, because you would think the state, with all their time and energy they put into this benefit, would give us the best deal. That might not be true moving forward, which is unusual. So we will be shopping that outside. But that increase that he's talking about, that health benefits, is set by the state. It has nothing to do with us.
Thank you. This slide looks at our total budget. You'll see that our general operating expenses accounts for the most of our budget at 32%. And in second is our police salary and wages and public safety salary and wages, which is $4 million. So again, this is just a breakdown of our budget. We have what's called the appropriation and levy cap compliance. The state of New Jersey prescribes that you must be levy and appropriation cap compliant. We are cap compliant this year with our levy cap and our appropriation cap. We were able to take some exceptions, such as pilots, and some outside the cap expenses, such as health benefits and garbage, and many other items, which helped us be under cap. And if you recall, at the last council meeting, we adopted the cap bank ordinance, which again allows us to bank our unused cap to the following year to further help our budget. So this slide and the following 2 slides just go over how we came up with our cap compliance and what type of exclusions we took for the year. So to finalize our tax rate for this year, again, our tax rate is 1.085, up from 0.983 from last year. And the total tax summary as proposed, we have a proposed budget of $19,613,000. We have surplus anticipated at $1.9 million. We are not anticipating additional surplus due to the fact that our surplus was decreased this year. However, we were able to sustain the same anticipation that we did last year, so we're not hurting in terms of losing additional revenue anticipated in the budget. And our total tax rate, again, for last year was 0.983. The tax rate for this year is 1.083. And the average residential municipal tax increase stands at $283.97 for an average total tax of $12,069. Now, before we get into the final slides, I just wanted to highlight again and stress one of our key drivers for tonight is the impact on state premium increases and some of our internal policies. Again, our health benefit budget stands at $3 million. One thing that we're looking at in changing for the future is what our staff members contribute towards those health benefits. Again, our tax increase stands at $283, with employees only contributing 1.5% of their salary. In many other municipalities, those employees contribute what's called Chapter 78 contributions, or somewhere in the middle between the two. And the analysis shows that if we were charging Chapter 78 contributions, rather than collecting $76,000 in employee contributions, we would be collecting $559,000, which would further lower our tax bill from $283 to $168. It's an overall impact of $115. So significant part of our budget, highly advised policy-wise to change that in the future. More to come on that, but unfortunately we're kind of contractually stuck right now in terms of our budget. But we are doing everything and anything we can to help future budgets.
So just for the public who are watching this at home, that numbers he was just talking about are contractual at this moment. We can't change that. So if we tomorrow wanted to say we'll increase what they pay, we can't do that. It's contractual. They'll be up in another year or two with new contracts. Then we'll have talks and negotiation with the unions about where we fall on that number somewhere.
And why weren't they raised in the past?
Because it was a different time. It wasn't, that there was the set standard for most places to do that, on the low side. So that's just what we've done in the past with our.
But other towns have risen them in the past.
No, other towns went full 78 when it first came out, or just kept where they were. There wasn't a lot of negotiation about that at the time, but now because health benefits are out of control, there's going to be a lot of talk about that moving forward, unfortunately.
And we will talk.
We will talk.
Thank you. So to finalize our budget, this is our 8-year tax history. Again, we stand at an average increase of $283. Last year, our budget was at $178, with the prior year being at $97. So with these health benefit changes and the state health benefits plan, we are trending in a bad direction, but we do have some good revenue news for next year. We have some lower costs. We have some potential retirements. So I do believe that with the correct financial planning with our CFO and auditor, I do believe that we'll be able to be in a better position next year than where we are now. Unfortunately, it's just a really bad year with the health benefits. And, we're doing everything that we can to offset the tax increase with that. Just one last slide to highlight how do we compare in Pompton Lakes to all of our colleagues in Passaic County. So we're about halfway, more towards the top in terms of the average total tax. You have Wayne Township and Ringwood Borough are some of the higher tax towns, with West Milford and Wanacue, and Pompton shortly thereafter at the lower total tax municipalities in Passaic County. So we're trying everything that we can do to be at the top of that list.
Right, so the five towns in front of us, meaning they have a better tax rate than us, out of the 16 are Patterson, West Milford, Wanacue, Clifton, and Little Falls, and then us. And then there's 11 towns after us who we are below on a tax rate. So, that speaks volumes in the county, because the county kind of works as a team, as a group. We're in a better spot than some towns. We could be better, but that's not a horrible spot to be in.
And this slide just highlights, again, the 7-year tax history for the municipal tax, just showing you the trends within the past 7 years. And my favorite slide out of the whole presentation is the infamous dollar bill. Again, the borough only contributes 25% of your total tax bill, which for this year is $3,033. The school, the local Board of Education, some municipalities have a regional Board of Education, but we have a local. That stands at 54% of your tax bill, with the county following at 18%, the library at 1.3%, and our open space trust fund at only 0.25% at $28 of your total tax bill. So this just showcases that although we're doing everything we can, we're only a small portion of your total tax bill.
And let's forget, out of that 25% are all our salaries, all our police department, our DPW, all our ambulance and fire departments and all our vehicles. You know, that's a lot to ask out of that 25%. We have a great school system here, no question. People come to this town because we have a great school system. When you have a great school system, you have to pay for that. You know, that there's a cost involved with that at the end of the day. We don't have anything to do with the school budget, just so everybody understands that. They do their own budgets, and they just show us the numbers. We kind of work, you know, we'll talk about how we can make things better, but they're independent of how they do things with us. And then the county, of course, is totally independent of both of us.
Thank you. So the final aspect of tonight's presentation, we're looking at our capital plan for the year. So with the Finance Committee and with the work of our department heads, we were able to put together a comprehensive capital plan which addresses the infrastructure and equipment needs throughout the borough of Pompton Lakes. So included in this year's plan, we're looking at the replacement of the Department of Public Works garage. We have some promising news that we'll share as part of our regular meeting tonight with that project. But we are contributing what's otherwise known as the soft cost of that project, which has to do with the engineering, the architectural services, the soil permitting, the DEP permitting, among many other soft cost items that we're looking to advance this project, again, in hopes of getting it fully funded by a grant in the future. We are funding security cameras at the recycling center. You'll see that part of that project is funded through a grant from the NJDEP. So the total debt on that is only $16,000. Again, as mentioned prior in the presentation, we have the resurfacing of Lakeside Ave, which is funded more than half by a DOT grant that we've received. So we're lucky to have that. We have a $165,000 grant for miscellaneous ADA curb ramp upgrades project through the Passaic County the Passaic County Community Development Block Grant Program. So that project's looking at ADA curb ramp replacements on Edwards Avenue, Riverview Road, among other side streets within the borough. We have our annual allotment for our MS4 stormwater management permit services through Aqualis, and also our storm basin cleaning services through the borough of Ringwood. So those are the two items that are funded out of that annual capital allotment. We have $30,000 worth of computer replacements and network upgrades, which seems to be required with new Microsoft licensing requirements. So we're working with our IT manager on that. And then we also have cybersecurity network improvements, which we will be making to our borough and police department servers for this year. So that's a necessary investment that we have coming up. We also have $1,500 for miscellaneous office supplies and furnishings that come up throughout the year to try to offset some of the budget funds, rather, putting it in capital. Typically in the past, we've funded about $50,000 to $100,000 for our river services. However, this year we're in the process of attaining a new DEP permit, so we were able to reduce that to only $10,000 for miscellaneous and notably emergency tree removals. We do have a healthy balance in older capital ordinances, so that's why we were able to keep that at $10,000 rather than $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000. Regarding vehicles, we are going to be purchasing a Ford Explorer for our Office of Emergency Management. The OEM coordinator has historically had one of our older police cars, so we're looking to upgrade him to a all-wheel drive vehicle that he can take out in the elements. So we're excited about that and look forward to that coming up later this year. For the police department, we're funding a new Chevy Tahoe as part of the fleet. The chief and I are working for future years on, seeing whether we're going to buy or lease or what we're looking at. But for this year, we have one vehicle replacement. And I know the police department just took delivery of a vehicle funded in last year's capital plan. So, two vehicles are going to be coming up soon, which is nice.
I'm going to just jump in for the public, when we're talking about vehicles, if we don't replace a couple vehicles a year, we put ourselves in a hole. And then in the 5th year, when 6 vehicles are bad, we're spending way too much money. So we try to have a rotation basis. All the vehicles have well over 100,000 miles before we replace them. It's not like we're turning them over at 30 or 40,000. But as you would want and expect, our police department need working, operable vehicles ready to go at any given time. So it's always been my say, and most of the council say, that we try to put new vehicles in play every year, because if we don't, we'll be in a hole.
Thank you. We had the first aid squad request $2,500 for some radio replacements. We have the fire department looking for Scott mask replacements and helmet replacements, so we have 3 minor requests there. And with our DPW, we are going to be replacing one of our own garbage trucks. We did just order the rentals of the 2 new garbage trucks for the shared services agreement for the Borough of Oakland, but we do need to replace one of our vehicles right now, so that's $325,000. We're also going to be purchasing what's known as a service body utility vehicle, which is going to be used for more road projects and road repairs, something that we're lacking right now. So we're looking forward to that. And then we also have a lawnmower replacement, a paint line sprayer, and we continue, as the mayor indicated, with our pickup truck replacement schedule, which is on the back end of the whole replacement schedule. I think the DPW is in a really good position with vehicles. So for next year, that's something to consider. But overall, our capital plan stands at $1.7 million with a down payment required of $87,000. This slide highlights what our capital improvement fund balance is starting on 1/1 of 2026, which is $39,000. We are funding in the budget $75,000 of additional capital improvement funds for this capital plan. Minus, again, the ordinance of $87,000, that would leave a new balance for next year of $27,000. And we're hopeful that in future budgets, with better health benefits, among many other changes, maybe we can have self-funded ordinances, which don't authorize debt, where we're able to fund it directly from the budget rather than go out to debt for those. So that's the capital plan. This slide I'm not going to go over, but this highlights all of our deferred projects. Although the capital plan was requested or was approved at $1.7 million, the deferred projects was at $1.8 million. So our total capital request was over $3 million from all of our departments. So we did cut a lot out of our capital plan. It could have been a lot more. Many of these items are sorely needed, but I think the Finance Committee and the governing body did a good job in cutting and identifying what exactly is necessary for this year to continue our infrastructure and equipment upgrades. And with that, I am finished. So I thank the governing body and the Finance Committee for all of their work. And if there's any questions or concerns for myself, the CFO, or the auditor, we're happy to address those.
So first off, I got to thank the Finance Committee, which is Councilman Bennett and Councilman Hinton. This is not something that just happens in one meeting. This is numerous meetings, a lot of discussions with department heads about just those wish lists that they were talking about and how maybe we can do it, can't do it this year, we'll do it next year. When a fire department says, I need a new fire truck, that's $1 million purchase, right? But if our fire truck is 25 years old, we've got to start talking about that now. It's those kind of discussions that we have as we move forward to keep things going. So the committee puts it together with the help of our administrator and our office staff and our attorneys and our auditors and our CFOs, and we all have these discussions, and then we present it to the council and to the public on how. So I thank everybody for doing that. As I look at it, when I look at the list from Passaic County. We live in an area that costs things. Everybody knows at home, everything's costing more money, no matter what you're buying, where you're going, what you're doing. Okay? For whatever reason it is, that everything's costing more money. Multiply that by 100, and that's how a town has to run. So our budgets have increased too on everything we do. Nothing stayed the same at all. So, we're getting a good bang for our buck, I think, by this. I'm going to let the chair of finance, or anything you want to add to that?
Thank you, Mayor.
And then I'll take questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that this modest budget increase, yes, our taxes will go up, but when does the cost of anything go down? When I first got my driver's license many years ago, gas was $1 a gallon. So nothing goes down in price. So I think we did a very good job. Thank you to all the department heads and our borough administrator all involved for negotiating and working with us to stabilize our taxes. We're not going to reduce taxes with the cost of everything going up the way they are. Thank you.
And I've been pushing, as everyone knows, for this redevelopment for 10, 12 years. We're starting to see the offset of that. If we don't have that money coming in the next couple of years, we're going to be in bigger holes than we can handle at some point. We are in good times. I'm going to let maybe our auditor or our CFO speak to how we compare to other towns in general. But, without the money coming in from these projects, we don't have any other revenues to come in except from tax dollars. It's the only other place. And my fight, and this council's fight from day one, has been our taxes are too high. We all know that. We all pay taxes up here. We all understand that. At the end of the day, this is the only way we can offset it. So before you guys ask some questions, I'm going to let the auditor or CFO, whoever, just compare us what you see from the towns you're involved in.
Pretty much, everybody, like I said, everybody's struggling, but you guys have got your under your cap on everything, and it's, with your revenue coming in now, like you've been saying from the pilot, it's going to help you a lot. And it's hard to anticipate more revenues because everything's pretty much flat, like we saw with the budget. So having a new revenue stream coming in would be very helpful.
Do you want anything?
Yeah, especially the, like Mike was saying, it is unfortunately, as we beat a dead horse, it's the health benefits. I work in a town where I contribute, as an employee, I contribute 30% of the premium, 30% of, my salary goes to the premium. And we actually got out of the state health benefits. But if we were still in, we would be paying, the state like an extra $60,000 a month, for our monthly fees. And that is the driving force. And like with the Chapter 78 and even, unfortunately, it might have to go after retirees as well if they retire after a certain date. That can at least help offset. From $3 million, you could probably save. The more people contribute, the more retirees contribute. You could almost save $1 million if that's possible. So that's the biggest driving force. And to go down $113 for regular tax bill, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, that is good. All right, council. Any questions from the council?
I just want to add, first year on the finance committee for me, it was an eye-opener. I want to thank Councilman Bennett, and I want to also reiterate everything that the mayor has said. Yes, the wish list for the DPW, police department, and fire department was a lot more extensive, and we really had to cut back. I want to give Michael a lot of credit. He's really sharpened the pencil point, and he's cut a lot out. And I just saw the paper here the other day, March 29th. Passaic County budget raises taxes again. The increase of the county is at 6% they're looking at. So the increase that we have on top of the county increase of what the mayor had said about the school, which we have no control over, yes, taxes are going to go up a little bit, but we've kind of done the best we can on the finance committee with the mayor and our council. And being a senior and on the seniors, I listen to the seniors. They're struggling with the taxes going up. But we as a council and Michael and our finance committee has done really the best we can. Healthcare costs are killing us. So I want to thank them for all the work. Thank you guys for all the work you did.
Any other questions from the council? Any concerns, questions, anything? No? All right, thank you, guys. Thank you for the presentation, Mike. Thank you. You know, it is what it is, so as we move forward. Okay. Okay, Liz, you can read that, if you want to read that. Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to do the bid now, yes.
Special improvement district budget.
We're going to do a public hearing on the Business Improvement District. I think we're just going to vote on it unless someone has would you like to say anything, Sue, about it? Okay, does anybody have any questions in general about the bid budget? So for the audience, the bid is the Business Improvement District. They pay their monies come from the landowners that own the properties. They pay a little tax to the Business Improvement District, and that money is run and controlled by the Business Improvement District. All we do is approve the budget. We don't spend the money. We kind of collect the money, but we give it to the bid. It's just a pass-through for us. But if anybody has any questions about the bid and the budget, now would be the time to ask that. Anybody?
Of course.
Go ahead.
I have a question. My question is, who figures out the bid assessments for the businesses in town that are doing the paying of the taxes?
Our tax department would figure it. Mike, is it,
And how is that 2026 net value calculated?
I would defer, maybe, Dave, do you happen to know?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the assessor just assesses the
right,
property.
the assessor assesses the property for what it is, and then the percentage that was put aside for the bid, I think it's what is it? I don't remember the number, is taken off that tax number that goes to the bid. So if their taxes are 10,000 and they have to pay 1% of the bid, they pay 1,000.
Because I was looking at the assessment roll for people who were paying, and Tilcon is paying under $600, and then the business across the street from me is paying over $3,600. So I was wondering,
There
if
might
a
be
business like Tilcon, why are they paying so less?
There might be different classifications of the businesses too, I'm not sure of that. Is that what it is? Yeah, there's different classifications of the
Yeah,
businesses.
there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the
Right,
classification.
so it depends where they fall, I think.
So how is that figured out then?
It's the type of building that it is. It's like, so a regular building or, commercial, industrial, or,
So it goes on the building size, square footage of the building?
well, it's the assessed value, and then it's our percentage of that.
All right, so it's not the size of the business itself, whereas Tilcon's a multi-million-dollar outfit.
Yeah. DuPont pays most of the bid tax.
Excuse me?
DuPont pays most of the bid tax.
Okay, yeah, there's a bid roll that I was looking at.
Right, so, whatever their budget is, I'd say more than half is collected from DuPont itself, as a business, and I can tell you DuPont's not happy about paying it, because they feel they're not a business, but they are a business, and just the same way Tilcon is a business in town, there's just different
Well,
classifications.
Tilcon is an operating business.
Right.
DuPont is a non-operating business.
Correct,
They're not operating anything out of that property.
but their classification under bid is different, I think, than Tilcon's.
Yes.
And who determines those classifications?
People have appealed to get out of it, like, the Sujin project is no longer in the bid, well, when it was contributing to the bid, now it's gonna be a residential, it won't be contributing any further. So they can get out of it by not having commercial on the bottom. It has to be.
Right, they'll have, if they don't have any retail, then it becomes, you can petition and come out. That is part of the agreement, but the bid is set up by the board, they have their own board and their own director. And then, our tax assessor does the assessing of the number to the bid.
So the property owners can appeal to the tax assessor.
If they don't have any retail. If they have retail, they can't, if they're a retail establishment.
Kind of like DuPont has no retail, nothing's going on it.
But there's a different classification for them, I don't know what it's called, but usage or whatever it is, but it's something that they're falling under, they can't get out of it, they've tried.
We know they try. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No? No? Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comments on the 2026 Special Improvement District, the SID or bid budget. It's just about this question. Can I have a
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second?
Council President Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone like to ask a question just about the bid budget? Seeing no one, motion to close the public session.
Motion.
Councilman Sanchez, Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve the 2026 Special Improvement District SID budget for second reading and final adoption.
Motion.
Councilman Begg,
Second.
Councilman Hinton, roll call, please.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Council President Kent.
Yes.
Councilman Sanders.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to talk about the municipal, just for the public's content. At the second reading, would be an option for the public to address any concerns or questions they have about the budget. This is just the introduction at this point. Motion to approve Resolution 26-172.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Council President Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Go ahead, Liz, I'm sorry. I'm doing your job.
Authorizing, 26-173, authorizing the introduction of the 2026 municipal budget to be read by title only.
Motion to approve Resolution 26-173.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilman Sanders, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
26-174, 2026 municipal budget resolution.
Motion to introduce 2026 municipal budget of the Borough of Pompton Lakes.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilman Begg, roll call, please.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Council President Kent.
Yes.
Councilman Sanders.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
I'll read the statement.
Says the clerk has to read it.
Yes. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was approved by the governing body of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, County of Passaic on April 8, 2026, and advertised on the Borough of Pompton Lakes website, located on the homepage under legal notices. A hearing of the budget and tax resolution will be held at the municipal building on Wednesday, May 13, 2026, at 7 p.m., at which time and place objections to the budget and the tax resolution for the year 2026 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested parties. Copies of the budget are available in the office of the Borough Clerk at the Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, during the hours of 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or on the borough's website.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. You know, if you'd like to stay, you can stay, but you can leave if you'd like. Thank you. Motion to open the meeting for public comments.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Any from the public like to address? Please step up.
Paul Bowlby, 120 Romaine Ave. All this information is wonderful, but where can I find it on the town website? I looked for it, it's not there. I'd like to see the kind of detail that you guys all have. Is that going to be made available to the public?
I'll answer at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I had a question about, and I don't know if this is more appropriate for the next go-around. There was a discussion or a mention about something called the borough's net valuation is down. Maybe you could explain what that means and what effect it has on our budget?
Mhm.
That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Councilman Santos, Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Paul, I don't know if we put the full, do we put the full budget on?
Yes, so the budget presentation along with the budget document, the state budget document, is posted on the Finance Department page under Financial Documents, and historically, we do share the presentation on Facebook. So I would look for that tomorrow.
Okay, and the net evaluation?
Yes, so that looks at what is the total valuation of all the properties in the borough, and the reason that that has been significantly decreased is solely due to tax appeals and the value of those properties, with market trends being down, especially with commercial properties. But we did have some tax appeals within the past year, and that does affect the total valuation of the borough. So that's mostly what goes into it.
And another part of redevelopment is to bring that square footage for retail up, so those numbers don't go down every year. We can get better dollar in rental, which brings our valuations back up. And we're starting to see that, especially when, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, when chain stores start coming in, it brings other stores in around those chain stores. And that starts to bring the square footage of people's renting up, which is good for the town, it's good for the landlords, and it's good for the evaluation altogether. Okay, motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes, March 25th, 2026. Closed session meeting minutes, March 25th, 2026. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Santers,
Second.
Councilman Lennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Bills and claims as listed below. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilman Hinton,
Second.
Councilman Baig, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Consent agenda. Anybody need anything out? No? Okay, Liz, go for it.
Whereas the mayor and borough council of the borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda, various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire continuous resolutions or individual actions on that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 26-176 through 26-184.
Motion to approve the resolutions.
Motion.
Councilman Hinton, Councilman Bennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Final adoption ordinances.
Ordinance
Did I miss something?
2611.
No, you didn't miss anything. I'd just like to speak before the
Oh,
ordinance.
go.
The planning board has not had a meeting, so they did not give a referral review yet. So I would ask that this ordinance be carried to the next council meeting.
2613?
11. 11. And have the clerk notify, so that no further notices, published notice is required to carry it to a date and time certain at the next council meeting.
Okay.
So if someone can make a motion. for
Somebody
that,
make a
have it
motion for that?
Carried, that's my suggestion.
I'll make a motion to carry it.
Councilman Bennon?
Second.
Council President Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we're going to carry ordinance 2611 till the...
Without further notice to the next council meeting, which is scheduled for, what is the date, Liz?
April 22nd, 2026.
Okay. At 7 PM is the council meeting time.
Correct.
Thank you.
And that's just because the planning board hasn't met yet to discuss the ordinance.
Yeah, they haven't given us the referral.
Right, okay. Ordinance 2612.
Establishing the annual compensation for members of the Pompton Lakes Municipal Authority.
Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 26-12.
Motion.
Councilman Baig?
Second.
Councilman Santers, was that Councilman Santers? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone like to address just this motion? Or ordinance, I'm sorry. Seeing no one, motion to close the public session on ordinance 26-12.
Motion.
Councilman Bennon?
Second.
Councilman Santers, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to approve ordinance 26-12 for final adoption.
Motion.
Councilman Bennon?
Second.
Councilman, who was that?
Santers.
Santers?
Do
Santers?
you have a question on this?
Yeah, okay. Why not?
2.8% increase?
That's what they're getting, yes. That has nothing to do with us.
I know it has nothing to do with us, but we're voting on yes or no, correct?
Correct.
Why the 0.8?
I couldn't tell you.
No idea?
I know that we investigated why we approved this ordinance in the first place, but I don't have answers to the amount. We'd have to defer to the Pompton Lakes MUA on that. But if there's questions about the statutory process of this ordinance, I know the borough attorney reviewed that for us.
And what did he come up with?
Correct. Statute 40:14B-17 authorizes the municipality to set forth the compensation for the members. Not for employees, but for the members. I would imagine that...
Commissioners you're talking
Correct.
Commissioner.
Commissioners and members, the same.
about. No,
Yep.
for the public.
With respect to the percentage increase, I imagine that's probably what they had requested.
Yeah, I mean, they typically follow the CPI index or the rate of inflation, but other than that, I don't
That would
really
explain
know.
probably a point of a percentage.
Right.
And that's also paid out of their funds, not ours.
It is also paid out of their funds, but it was also paid by the taxpayers of Pompton Lakes in their water. and
The
sewer
ratepayers, correct.
That's correct. Okay. Motion to approve ordinance 26-11 for final adoption.
Motion.
Councilman Lennon, Councilman Haig. Roll call, please.
Councilman Hin,
No.
Council President Ken,
I have to recuse myself.
Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Day,
Yes.
okay.
Yep, 2613.
Second.
Yeah,
So that's a 3 vote.
yeah, 3-1.
Who's the one?
You.
I voted no.
Right, so it's a
Right.
1 and 1, 2, 3.
And an abstention.
She abstained.
Right, that's 4.
And an absence. Yep, passes.
Passes, yeah. It's 4 votes.
Who's the 4th vote? You?
You're a no, so you count as a vote. It has to have
It
4
passes
people.
3-1.
3-1. Okay, ordinance 26-13.
Amending Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Pompton Lakes governing workplace conduct.
Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 26-13.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilman Santers, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 26-13.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Council President Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve ordinance 26-13 for final adoption.
Motion.
Councilman Begg,
Second.
Councilman Bennett, a roll call, please.
I'm sorry, was that?
Begg and, Begg and Bennett.
Councilman Hinton,
I still really didn't get an answer on the elected officials, not subject to this ordinance, us elected officials.
Okay, we're at a vote though now. It's too late. Got to either vote yes or no. There's no discussion at this point.
Too late?
Yes, you should have talked before that.
You get me every time, don't you?
It's a vote right now, so it's a yes or
No.
no. No.
Council President Ken,
Yes.
Councilman Sanders,
Yes.
Councilman Bennett,
Yes.
Councilman Day.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Liz. Okay, under my report. Well, we'll start off with what we've been talking about a little bit. Congresswoman Poe, who is our representative here in our district, since she's a new representative, we've had some, between myself and Mike, our administrator, we've been reaching out to every politician we can to try to get funding for a building that we're going to build for our DPW garage. We're looking at costs of probably $10 million for this building. Congressman Poe has come out with some money for us. We don't know the exact number yet, but it's a good number, and it's congressional, which means it comes from the federal government. They all have, each congressperson has a little pool of money that they can use from the federal government for pet projects that they'd like to see. I gotta give her credit, she's new to our town, she hasn't been here yet, really, I've met her only once, and she is coming up with some funding for us, for this project, so this is a big deal for us. So if we can get other politicians to jump on board in the local side of it, with the state, or even the governor, I'm in conversations, the administrator and myself are in conversations with the governor's office. She also has a pool of money she can use. The state representatives, the Senate and the Assembly, they have little pockets of money they can use. If we can pull some pieces of money together from all these groups, it'll really help us with this DPW. But this is a great start that we're getting some money. So I have to thank her for that. And we'll keep you posted on what the number is. But, we're looking at a $10 million project. So we'd like to get it completely funded. So we're looking for $10 million. So we'll see how that goes. I attended the Easter egg hunt, which is always a fun event, along with a bunch of the council people up here. It's run by our recreation department. They do a great job. They're very organized. They know what's going on. The kids enjoy it. They get to take a picture with the Easter Bunny. So it's just an enjoyable time all around. It's one of my favorite things to do because it's quick also. It's over in an hour. Kids are running around and then they're done. I have to thank Meridian, the people that are building the new building here for the new Civic Center we have. We're going to be opening that, I think Mike mentioned, in the next week or two. It's a brand-new building with new new bathrooms and new locker rooms for the police, a new women's locker room, a new meeting area for us, and upstairs for storage. They've had to build a staircase. They put a lot of time and energy and money into that building, and it didn't cost the town anything. This was one of the benefits to having them build. They said they would redo our civic center, and they kept their word, and I have to thank them for that. So there's more to come with that building, because I think there'll be some nice information coming out on how we're going to use that building. But we haven't had our civic center open in probably 4 years, maybe, because we had some real damage with mold and flooding there. So this is a big deal that we're going to get our building back, and I'm happy to hear that. That's great news. I met with Columbia Bank, with the manager there, Gene Hoffman, and he just wanted to meet. And, you know, the reason we moved the funds, and I was one of the people, along with some council people up here, that moved our funds into Columbia Bank, is because they're a community bank. They're involved with the community. When we have a river walk, or we have a river cleanup, or we have anything, there's always Columbia Bank members there working with us. They don't live in our town, but their bank is in our town, and they're going to support our town. That's the kind of bank we want here in our town. If every bank was to be like that, that would be something else. So I have to, it was great to meet with them, and I said I always give them thank yous for being involved in our community. It is a big deal that they're doing that. But what else do I have? I think that's, oh no, I'm sorry, senior housing. Senior housing. I got a great call from the representative of senior housing who's organizing it. And she said, Mayor, I got to tell you, I've opened up a bunch of these places, and we don't really get a lot of vets, or we get 1 or 2 vets. She said she got 16 vets to join from Pompton Lakes or nearby towns, and another 36 seniors that are mostly from Pompton to fill this building. So we're around 40 already with vets and seniors from Pompton. That's why we built this building in our town. A lot of towns said no, they didn't want it because of all this and that. With a lot of negotiation with the county that, I spent a lot of time talking to them who I wanted to be in this building. It's coming to work, and it's going to open probably in July, August maybe, and they've already started filling the waiting list. That is great news for our vets, and that is great news for our seniors here, so I congratulate them for that. I can tell you that the other buildings that we were talking about are looking to open up in August, September, start taking, hopefully, the back building, as they call it, is finished in the Meridian building. They've got power, they've got all the appliances, everything's done in the back. They're just looking for the front now to redo the front a little bit. So that, things are moving along here. Finally, after so many years, we're going to see some big changes here in town. And that is my report. Council President.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the administrator for the budget presentation, and it's very interesting. I'm sad that we're not getting any money from the Trenton. We used to get money from Trenton. We used to get a lot of money from Trenton to help a small town like this, offset some of the of the bills that we have, and the fact that there's such a huge increase in the health benefits is really, it's just unacceptable. We should all be writing letters to the governor on that one, and maybe I'll do that tonight when I get home. But I think the budget, and I was a part of looking at that as well. I think it's for what we have to fund. I think it's doable, and I hope we pass it. All right. I also want to thank the members of the Women's Club who came out tonight, especially Marilyn Grimes and Lori Ariglio. They're both the chairwomen of the Civic Engagement Outreach Community Service Program, for their diligence in bringing in the display of, and there will be about 100 blue pinwheels, which are a national symbol in the month of April for Child Abuse Prevention Month. And that is to raise awareness for the prevention of the child abuse throughout the country. And I want to thank the mayor and council for the proclamation to the Women's Club. It's much appreciated, and thank the ladies for coming out tonight and receiving that award.
I got to throw in our own council president here, has been president for the last 2 years of the Women's Club. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay. My term is coming to an end. I attended the CERT, which is the Community Emergency Response Team Award event at the Pompton Lakes High School last night. 6 students, two of which are freshmen and 4 are seniors, completed their training course, and they will be on the CERT team. The awards were presented to the students by Deborah Ross, our CERT director, and Al Evangelista, our OEM coordinator. Our other CERT members that are on the team already also attended. They wore their nice green shirts, and they met to show support for the new CERT graduates. And I want to thank them very much for attending. It's fishing derby season, and our Pompton Lakes is very desirable. I understand it has some of the biggest fish you ever want it to fish for in New Jersey. However, and Chief, I'm going to direct this to you. We have an ordinance that has been around for maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years now, about getting a permit if you are not a Pompton Lakes resident to hold these fishing derbies, because they make money, and then we also have to have an insurance form to make sure that we don't have a problem if someone gets hurt, on the boat or at Lakeside Park. If they do not have a permit, if they are out-of-towners and they do not have a permit or proof of insurance, they should not be in that lake and they should not be in our park. They can be, if they're in the lake and they access the lake in other parts, like off of Wayne or off of Oakland, we don't own the water, but we own the park, and that money, we're talking about money, that's our open space money, and it's, for a small dock, it was $12,000. So we're not trying to make $1 million here, but we are trying to at least keep up with the needs of the replacement of equipment such as that. So that's very important that we follow that. I know in the past, some fishing derby folks had a derby and they did not submit a permit. I do believe our clerk got one out. It was pretty late in the evening, but she did get one out to someone last year. But my understanding is they're coming up, they're being posted, and Liz, did we get any permits?
No.
Yeah, they already had one, right? I think they had one derby already.
I think they did. I heard they,
No permits.
unacceptable. They cannot use our lakeside, and they can't use our dock, period.
So part of that would be of a resident calling the police department to let them know what's going on. Obviously, if they're driving by to see a couple boats, they could always ask, but
Yeah.
it's hard to judge who's using the lake as a recreational user and who's using it as a fishing derby.
They're parking in a certain area.
Yeah, I agree. If
Okay.
there's a lot of million cars there, that would be a question right there, yes.
You'll see a lot of trailers a lot of times.
No, I understand.
And there are other areas that they can park trailers in, and they're allowed to do that. If you see that, please let the police know, let our clerk know, because we have an ordinance for this. And I want it enforced.
So if I may, this is the first time I'm hearing about the issue this year. I've dealt with the issue in prior years, and then a part of that, recouping the money for the permits, because we went out and addressed it. So if you do have information about upcoming stuff, please send it to me.
Yeah.
Send it to my email or give me a call.
Absolutely.
And I'll address it right away to notify them if they're advertising and they're not getting the prior permits.
Okay.
We just give them
Steve,
a call.
If we
And
have
then-
any information, we'll absolutely.
Yeah, then if you happen to hear about it or know about it day of event, just call the PD and we can head over there and find out what's going on.
Okay. All
And
right.
Council President, just wanted to reiterate that we recently installed cameras at the boat launch. So the police dispatch have a live view of the boat launch.
Very good.
So they'll be monitoring that, and I know the chief is on that, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Michael. I forgot about the cameras. Okay. I also attended the Easter Bunny Egg Hunt, and that is a wonderful event. I want to thank all the recreation commissioners and the volunteers, the DJ, and the Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department for delivering the Easter Bunny to the tennis courts for the festivities. Thank you very much. If you spotted a flying object over your house, if you're nearby the rivers, it was the Flood Advisory Board's drone, and that was taking aerial photos of the Rempo, Wanacue, and Pequannock rivers, and they're taking pictures of the floodway and the floodplain to determine if there are structures or trees or other deleterious impediments in the rivers that need to be removed to allow the water to flow through town should we have a high water event. And we rented that, or we contracted out for that drone, so we don't own it, but they were allowed to do that. I believe they should be working this week. They had, I think, one day last week, and they need, I think, 12 hours to run this drone so that they can come back, and they will be working with the Flood Advisory Board folks to tell us where there's problems, so we can get rid of these trees out of the river so we don't have problems with backflow of floodwaters. I also attended the Flood Advisory Board Rain Garden Workshop, which was last Sunday. It was a wonderful workshop. I want to call out a special thank you to our Vice Chair, Steve Floman, our Chairwoman, Lauren Vennon, the Secretary, Alexa Reed, and our other Flood Board members, and they provided details on how to create a rain garden on your property. It was a wonderful visual presentation, along with handouts on the type of trees and plants. Sometimes you need a shady tree or shady plants. Depends on the preference of your property to the sun and how much sun your property will get in that area. And we had about 15 people attend, and many of those folks were from out of town. They were from other environmental groups. I think some even from like West Milford, so they came far away to hear this. It was a wonderful turnout, and what they did was they had a one-on-one discussion about the properties that were involved. They also talked about roadways and areas like along the roadways that maybe go to maybe a lake in their town. So it was really well event, and we had all really our flood board is outrageously intelligent about all of these projects, and I want to thank them very much. Eck, your wife did a great job. Our CTO day was very exciting. You didn't mention, I meant to tell you. It was very exciting, and the change of officers, is that, no, I'm sorry.
Change of town officers.
Change of town officers. Was very well attended. We had a lot of folks in the, sitting here and watching and come up with new ordinances or resolutions. They evidently would want to increase some speed limits in town for driving, which I thought was cute. I think you're going to approve that there, Mr. Councilman Hinton?
Yeah, I went along with that.
Yeah, you did, yeah. And they also discussed library cards, litter programs, and they were very crafted in their ideas for future considerations in the town. They looked, not only are they very intelligent kids, but they also look very official. They wore suits and dresses and neckties, and they were professionally presented. And their vision of community was excellent. And I want to thank Mr. Patrick for his guidance on this program. He's been doing it many years. I also attended the Zoom meeting for the Pompton Lakes Design Enhancements for the Downtown Redevelopment Agents and Planning Boards. Recommendations on this Zoom was about an hour and 15 minutes, and we discussed design concepts consistent with storefronts, entranceways, window styles, color palettes, and lighting requirements for the downtown area. The process is still going on, and we will be back, I guess, in another month, Mayor, to talk about all of our comments and how they're going to be implemented into the program. And it's a much-needed program. We also met with the Borough Engineer, Down Tree Service, and their supervisor, Councilman Hinton, and I, on the installation and the maintenance of the replacement trees that are required under the New Jersey State permit Willow Field Improvement Project for the flood-prone areas down off of Willow Street and in the new ball field complex. After our discussions, and we pointed out a few things, I was extremely satisfied with the project and the progress of the tree planting and the maintenance for the sustainability of the tree growth. And I also want to tell you, it's probably one of the most beautiful sports complexes I've seen in a while, and our children are going to love playing down there. So it's really very nice. It's almost done, but it'll be done hopefully by, I guess maybe they're talking about June. I'm also happy to see that the new Hirschfield Park footbridge was installed yesterday. It was beautiful to watch these huge trucks go through that very narrow driveway. An inch on each side of that truck was amazing. But it actually changes your view of the park and across the park, across the river, the Merman Park. And I do want to thank Michael for all of your work on the Hirschfield Park, the storage building. because it has a new facade, it has new doors, it is ADA, it will have an ADA compliance bathroom too, and with the epoxy flooring, it looks so amazing. And it will bring a lot more people to the park, and the upgrades are going to be very positive for our residents. And Mayor, that is my report.
Thank you. And the design standards that you mentioned, which you were part of, which was good you brought that up, is we've picked some members from the planning board, the redevelopment agency, a couple council people, a couple residents, to kind of give us a guidance on how we'd like to see the future of our town grow with everything changing. So we don't want just haphazard colors or haphazard windows or colors of doors or anything. So we kind of have a standard, and we kind of work towards that standard. Doesn't mean they have to do exactly what we're saying, but it's an idea of where we want to go in the future. So I think it's a great group. Our planner is the one putting it all together, and when it's all said and done, like Council President said, we'll have a report done, and that'll go to all the boards that they can kind of follow. Okay, Councilman Hinton.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank Michael for all the work he's done on the budget. Far more work than I ever imagined, and he did an excellent job. I want to thank him for that. Attended the first time for me, the Easter egg hunt. I want to congratulate you, Mayor. You did a hell of a job, and it was really impressive to see the kids running around. It really does your heart good. See the Easter Bunny coming out and getting pictures with the kids. It was a lot of fun. Michael was there with his wife and his two kids, and I helped throw the candy out, and it was the first time I ever saw how it worked. And you let all the kids pick up all the candy, and then we threw more candy out for the next older batch of kids. So it was really a great time. Let's see, did we talk about Senator Panaccio coming to the DPW?
Not yet, we don't have a date yet.
Well, he did come and he looked at it already.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right, yes, when we met, no, we did not.
Yeah. So that was it was a good thing for the senator to come and look at our situation with the DPW garage. We had an ordinance committee meeting, and we're discussing chickens in town and the deer, so we'll be bringing that up in discussion. Let's see, what else do we have? I had a seniors meeting, and I want to thank the chief and the officers for coming to the seniors, and they gave us a nice little packet from the police department, and they talked about scams, and the seniors really appreciated it. It was a nice presentation by the chief and his officers, so I want to thank them for that. Let's see, what else did we do? I did quite a bit, not as much as the council president has done. She's all over the place, but the CTO luncheon was good, and the CTO night, to see the kids taking over for the council, it was pretty impressive. And like the mayor said, they had a lot of great ideas. Upping the speed limit on Colfax Ave to 35. We know it's a county road, Mayor.
I shot that down.
You shot it right
Yeah, oh, yeah. He's good at that. He's good at shooting something. Also went to Willow Field and was looking at the trees and stuff with the council president. And the big issue there for us was the watering of the trees. And the contractor says he's going to take care of it. So let's hope he puts his money where his mouth is and does take care of that, I want to also say that we're starting to addle the geese eggs. That's coming up. It's spring, and they're starting to make their nests along the river. And we've been doing it for quite a few years, and there's been less and less nests. And I want to thank the mayor. He goes out and addles geese eggs too. He holds the umbrella. Not the best with the oil, but he's good on the umbrella. And I want to thank Frank Russo, Kevin McGrath, Ron and Julie Dunkos, Mr. McNamara. They all participate in addling the geese eggs. So, and let people know that trout season is starting soon, and we hope we're not having any contractors in the river. So that's supposed to start Saturday. So let's see. Pretty much what went on.
And thank you for mentioning the addling the eggs. For the public that doesn't know that, we've been doing that now probably 16 years. The previous mayor, Katie Cole, started that, and I jumped on it with her then. And like Councilman Hinton mentioned, when we first started this program, there were geese everywhere. You know, there were hundreds of geese on our ball fields and everywhere, and I've seen a great reduction in the number of geese from the time that we've done it. So what it basically stands for is we identify only in this time frame when there's eggs being hatched, and we put oil on the eggs, which is what makes them not be able to hatch. The problem is if you step on an egg and crush the egg, they just lay more eggs. So that's why you can't just destroy the egg. That's why the oil has to be put on them. And what most people don't realize is when those babies are born, they come back to the nesting site where they were born. And then their babies come back to the nesting site. And that's where the progress goes with so many. So when you stop that line, it's a good thing. So I can tell you, I didn't think it would work initially, but it has worked. And I've seen a big difference in it. And I know Councilman Hinton has done it before as councilman and other people. So it's a short term. The geese do attack you. They come after you, but it's what the umbrella's for, not to hit them. You just put it up to kind of block them away. But I've been attacked numerous times.
But I gotta say also that when I jumped in, the mayor was already doing it ahead of time. When I jumped in quite a few years ago, we would addle at least 100 different nests.
Easily.
And now we're lucky if we addle 4 or 5,
Yep.
10, the most. And so it's really brought the population down.
It has.
We love geese, they're nice, but if they would fly to the neighbors.
And I'm just going to throw this out there, you're not supposed to feed the geese either, okay? That's against our ordinances and feeding the geese. Councilman Santers.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just one question. How do you know where they're nesting?
We search for them.
You're gonna look for them.
So, and that's a good point, thank you.
Because
So-
I got geese in my backyard. So
Thank
how
you for
would
that
I-
point.
how
So
would I
you
know
should
that?
let me know, or anybody who's on the, so there is a class you have to take, you get a card, it's a whole thing, but we can't go on private property. But if the resident allows us to go on private property, then we will go out addle the eggs on private property. So we sent out scouters now that kind of walk the rivers and look around, because they're mostly around water areas, but there are quite a few on private property. So like for your example, you just give us the address, give us an okay, we sign a form, we'll be on there.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you have lunch at the same time, that would.
It helps. Thanks. Okay, I also attended the CTO lunch. It was nice seeing all the kids there. They were all getting ready for Monday night, and they all did a great job on the being town council. Like they did come up with quite a few different ideas. One, which was forgot to mention, was trying to connect one of the trails to go to Pequannock, which I thought that was a good idea. So it was nice seeing their different ideas, and they took it seriously. The BOE meeting last night, Teacher of the Year was acknowledged. Lincoln School was Ed Woodcock. Lennox, Matt Mansback. Lakeside was Emma Yoder. Pompton Lakes High School was Brooke Collins, and the educational support specialist Daphne Lennis. Like Council President Kent said, that 6 kids were recognized for certain. That was prior to the Board of Ed meeting. The budget was sent to the Passaic County Superintendent for approval, so it goes through the Board of Ed. Once they have a tentative budget, then it gets sent to the Superintendent of Passaic County, and they have to go through the budget, and they'll approve it, and then it'll be sent back to our Board of Ed. They might have to make changes or leave it as is. The planning board is in 2 weeks, and then MUA, just a reminder that the hydrant flushing will start April 20th, and that will be performed between 12 and 6 a.m., and it will take place for 2 weeks for completion.
And that, just you should mention with that if you do have some brown water, just run your faucets a little bit. You know,
Cold water.
Cold
Yeah,
water.
right.
Cold water. Okay, good, great. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll echo my peers' comments about CTO Day. They did a great job. I thank the kids especially for stepping up. It's not easy to talk in public. I still have trouble sometimes talking in public. but for those kids to go up and present their ideas to us. It's on 77 now, right? And YouTube?
Where is that, Liz? Is it up?
Yeah, and I also sent the YouTube link to the advisors so they can share it with the students.
Awesome. So great job with that. Easter egg hunt, it was a windy but sunny day, so I'll take the sun, but I wish it was a little bit warmer. But if it was warmer, the chocolate would then melt onto the, while it was being passed out or handed on the ground there. So thank you to the Rec Commission, the Zonta Club, and especially the Easter Bunny for showing up there that day. And lastly, congratulations to the Pompton Lakes High School Music Department on a successful spring musical. The play was Something's Rotten, I think it's called. It was a great show. I saw it twice. It was a lot of laughs, a lot of references to other musicals, some of which I got, most of which I did not get, but it was still funny to watch. And that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Begg.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
First, do the motion. Go ahead.
First, I'd like to make a motion to approve a request from the Pompton Lakes Volunteer Fire Department to hold a tag-style fundraiser on May 2nd, 2026, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. The rain date would be May 3rd, 2026, at the intersection of Hamburg Turnpike and Ramapo Avenue. Police have approved a traffic control plan. ANSI certified traffic vests will be worn, positioned in yellow no-traffic portion roadway behind traffic barrels. The Passaic County Board of County Engineering Department have been notified.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
All right. And with my report, I attended last month's coalition meeting. They are running a sticker shock event on May 2nd. The Walk for Hope and Diamond Classic will be on the same day this year, and that date will be May 16th. And again, those events are to bring mental awareness to our community and have a stigma-free community. I also attended the Easter egg hunt at Hurstville Park. Again, it was a great event. The event went very well. The kids were energized, and everyone loved the Easter Bunny. And then lastly, on Monday night, I also attended the council meeting for CTO Day. The seniors did an outstanding job. It was really good to hear about their concerns and improvements that they would like to see here in our borough. And that's my report.
Thank you. Since everybody's bringing CTO Day, and they did do a great job, but they had an open session, and some of us got up there and asked, and my question to them, when I asked the question was, when the seniors come out of lunch, they're walking, looking at their phones and just crossing the street without looking, and how are you going to handle that, asking the mayor, who was a high school student. I got to tell you, he answered it very well. He did a great job of answering it, saying we're going to do some training, and we've talked about it in school already, that they should be off their phones when you're walking, so he did answer that true. But, you know, we've all seen it when they're walking out of lunch, that they're just walking heads down right across the streets. So they did address that, though. Okay, Borough Attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. My office has been in communication with the administrator. I think we shared 3 or 4 ordinances at the beginning of this week, which I expect will be coming online at the next council meeting or 2. As you'll recall, we discussed the solicitation ordinance at the last meeting, and I asked for an opportunity to do a little bit more research because I had certain concerns based upon thinking about it a little bit further and one of the commentary that we received from a resident. You know, as everything to do with law, there's no bright line, right? So we have to kind of gauge this to just show how ridiculously unclear it is. In 1965, the New Jersey Supreme Court said a curfew at 5 p.m. was acceptable. 20 years later, the federal appellate court, the Third Circuit, said 5 p.m. without statistical evidence supporting why you're stopping it at 5 p.m. is not good. And they said at that point in time, well, 9 p.m. is good. And I suppose that's probably why the ordinance played it safe and said 9 p.m. The reality is we don't have a bright line, but the closer we are to 9 o'clock, the safer we are. There are no reported decisions on Sunday, but the courts did talk about justifications for rest periods. So I did look around our communities. Riverdale has a curfew at 8 p.m. with Sundays off. Wayne has 7 p.m. And out of the towns that were most similar for canvassing, for people walking, I think those are the two closest towns to Pompton Lakes. Then you had towns like Ringwood, West Milford, and Bloomingdale, all of which are harder to walk. And they had some earlier curfews. You know, some of them said 6 p.m., some of them used dusk as a barometer.
What's the dusk? Does that play into this at all?
Well,
Winter's a different time, 9 o'clock than summer.
it could, but I think that the greater latitude or ambiguity that's associated with it, the greater the likelihood to be challenged is. And the goal is we want to stay out of trouble. I think that the best way to regulate is just encouraging the population, the residents of Pompton Lakes, to participate on the no-knock list, because then it's their election, it's not our election, and the canvassers will be notified accordingly, and they're all subject to it. With that being said, I wouldn't lean towards what Ringwood, West Milford, or Bloomingdale are doing, only because since those municipalities are less subject to canvassers, or they're not as conducive, those are the towns that are not likely to be challenged, because there aren't that many people that want to walk a quarter-mile house to house, right? But here, you're more akin to Riverdale and Wayne, so I think that your restrictions, while certainly their ordinances haven't been proven to be legal, they're a little bit more prudent than what we had suggested at 6 p.m., and they haven't been challenged yet, and those ordinances have been on the books for some time. So
you have 8 and 7, two different times.
Correct. So I would suggest that you do one or the other. You split the baby in the middle and go with 7:30. The closer you get to 9 o'clock, the safer I would feel. There's obviously no guarantee you could be challenged. And, you know, God forbid you're making new law. But the bottom line is you wouldn't be, you'd be in reasonable good company if you stood between those other hours. And based upon the research that I did, that's consistent.
What about Sundays?
The other towns do say, a lot of those towns bar Sundays. I expressly had it researched if there were any decisions on it, and there weren't. We have blue laws in Bergen County still, and it's kind of like for the same rationale, a day of rest. So I think that you're okay. Again, there's no bright line on it. You could certainly get challenged on it, and I can't guarantee the success, but the courts did articulate an amenability for rest. And with respect to the hour restrictions, I explained that already. And I don't want to
So a
keep on repeating.
7:30 in the summer and a 7:30 in the middle of December
Are two different
are
things.
two different animals, right?
They are two different
So I get seniors calling me and saying, it's pitch dark out and someone's knocking on my door at 7:30. You're trying to say we really can't address that time frame when it's dark or earlier.
There's a reasonable argument you can make, but the more you try to thread that needle, the greater likelihood you are to get challenged, right? So as it stands now, you're saying 9 p.m. across the board. 9 p.m. in the summer is a much different animal than it is in February or January. And certainly that distinction is also present at 7 p.m. I think there's just a little bit too much of an ambiguity associated with the dusk and dawn, because I know that I've seen decisions previously that talked about that being a benchmark, and you can't really do it at dusk in February because that's not really fair. You're having people stop walking in our area at 4 p.m. And as you can imagine, across the country, it isn't the same thing, right? Everyone doesn't have the same, because we're not all in the same zones. So my suggestion is keep it as a time-based issue. I would like to see it pushed back from 6 o'clock, and I would feel comfortable at 9 o'clock, and the closer you get to 9 o'clock, the more my advice is, push it in that direction as far as you feel comfortable. We do know, and I'm saying this for the purposes of stating the record, in case anyone ever reviews this, and we have the chief of police here, we do know that there were complaints recently about commercial canvassers mistreating residents, and I know that that was one of the catalysts behind trying to regulate this a little bit more. The courts did speak to statistical data associated with higher crime rates during darker hours, and I'm sure that that is reality, although I don't think that we have statistical data on it. At 9 o'clock, the courts weren't really looking for that statistical data. At 5 o'clock, they were looking for it enough to hold a municipality responsible, liable, for infringing on First Amendment rights. So the closer we get to 9 o'clock, the safer we are.
I'm going to throw out 7 o'clock. How's everybody feel about that? If you don't like it, let me know.
7:30, split it.
If you want 7:30, I'll go 7:30.
I'm good with 7 there.
7, doesn't matter to me, but, I did get a lot of calls, a lot of complaints. So you guys tell me what you feel.
I'm okay with 7.
I would go with 7, and there's nothing specific about holidays.
Just
You
Sunday.
talked about Sunday, but what about holidays?
Well,
I had
there's a lot of different holidays.
Horizon come on Christmas Eve, and in the dark, and then I had to argue with the girl.
But Christmas Eve is not a holiday.
Well, if we're going to specify the holidays, I think we should,
right.
maybe say federal holidays.
All right, we can
That's
do that.
fine. Oh, we can do that, okay.
I'm going to say, I like 7 federal holidays and no Sundays. Everybody
Yeah.
okay with that?
Great.
Sounds good.
All right, let's start with that. And when we go to court, I'll send my attorney said to do that.
Oh, I know you will.
Okay, so you can work on that, right?
Yes, yeah, we should have that for the next meeting.
Anything else?
No, that's it, thank you.
So just let me ask you a question. I know we're holding up on the code because of the planning board, right? Once we have that piece in, then we're good?
Correct. And this is just actually cleaning up. We don't need it for our plan, that's why
Right.
we're removing it. We have worked on, there's a consent order that has to be filed, and that's what gives us what's known as the judgment of repose, which gives us the long-term immunity for 10 years. That's drafted already. I have my associate Stephen talking to San just to make sure that we got all the numbers right, because these numbers kind of roll together. I want to have another set of eyes on it, and once San approves it, we'll get it over to Fair Share Housing. Once they approve it, we'll file it with court, and that should be it.
Good, okay, thanks. Administrator's report.
Question for the attorney.
Go ahead.
Anything on the Schuyler Avenue Railroad crossing maintenance?
We have, and I wish I had that update for you. I did tell my associate, my partner David, and I think Mike was even on the email. I told him what I wanted him to do with respect to following up. I gave specific instructions, and I had a meeting with him, and it was about the First Amendment thing with the canvassing, and that one slipped through the cracks. So let me give you a follow-up at the next council meeting, please.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Okay, administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Please be advised that the renovations to the Hirschfield Park Storage Shed project continue to progress. This week, the borough's contractor is in the process of installing the epoxy floor base and finishing the ADA bathrooms. A change order will be pending for the April 22nd, 2026 council meeting for consideration for the installation of a new spotlight on the front of the building. The sides of the building already have improved spotlights from the current contractor. However, the plans and specs neglected to include the front of the building, so we're looking at that for the next council meeting. In addition to that, I met on site with the DPW at Hirschfield Park to discuss removal of the overgrown shrubs between the basketball court and the parking lot. There's been many complaints that the existing shrubs are encroaching onto 2 of the backboards that are adjacent to the parking lot, and our intention is to repair and replace the existing guide rail and re-landscape the area with a moderate height sort of shrub. to replace those overgrown shrubs, to provide for some sort of barrier, but not too much of a barrier, where you can visually see the playground and all of the positive improvements that we're making to the park not be blocked by these large shrubs. So I'm going to follow up with Council President Kent and Councilman Baig for open space, and we'll have a plan for that to come. Please be advised that the borough has conducted a pre-paving meeting with our contractor regarding the resurfacing of Watervillette Ave and Albany Ave. The work is scheduled for Tuesday, April 21st, 2026, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., and is anticipated to be completed within 1 day. So this is a one-day project, a one-day mill and pave, and then a restriping thereafter. Again, during this time, access to driveways will be restricted and traffic detours will be in effect. The borough has provided notice of this project via social media, the borough website, and will hand deliver notifications to the affected residents. And just wanted to highlight from the mayor, mentioned before, we're pleased to share that Congresswoman Nellie Poe has selected the borough's Department of Public Works garage replacement project for the inclusion in the FY 2027 congressionally directed spending program. The project has been submitted by the Congresswoman's office to the House Appropriations Committee in the full funding request of $8.3 million for a fully funded project. Our project was one of only 15 selected projects from more than 70 applications from Congresswoman Poe's office. While this is a significant milestone, this is only a first step in the very large process that is the earmark process of the House of Representatives. The House Appropriations Committee has proposed limiting community project funding to 1% of total FY 2027 discretionary spending, and final approval remains contingent upon Congress passing the appropriations bills and including these projects. So we will be in touch with the Congresswoman's office. We are trying to get her down here for a site visit in the next few weeks to, continue progress. We don't want her to forget about us. And we, as the mayor mentioned, we are working with Governor Sherrill's office to schedule a site visit with the governor in the near future. So more to come on that. And lastly, just to reiterate again for the public, the 2026 municipal budget hearing is scheduled for Wednesday, May 13th, 2026 at 7:00 p.m. in the Borough Council chambers. The budget and PowerPoint presentation will be posted to the Borough website tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I spoke with Dan, but first of all, are they holding strong on the date to finish the bridge? Do we know that? Did they respond back?
The county is ahead of schedule, and all signs point to finishing before summer camp starts.
That's important.
So we are on track.
And there is some damage to some of our recreation equipment, which I guess that'll be addressed after it's all done, or they should be made aware of it, I'm guessing.
Yes, I believe Council President Kent informed me that some of the playground equipment was damaged. So we will follow up with the county, and I'm sure there'll be good faith partners on that to help us fix that.
And the benches,
The
the
benches.
new benches that
Yes.
came into.
One bench was removed,
Right.
the other was bent.
So they'll have to take care of that. All right, any questions for the administration? No? Okay, chief's report. Chief?
Yes, so March was definitely a more active month for the department compared to February. If you looked over the report, you would have seen an increase of our overall calls. They went from 2,059 incidents in the month of February to a total of 2,000, I'm sorry, it went from, up to 2,104 calls in the month of March. Out of those calls, we were also dispatched to an increase in calls of about 100 calls for the month, and our officers definitely were more proactive with enforcement, conducting a total of 320 motor vehicle stops and issuing 222 citations for the month. As for our investigation workload, we also saw an increase there slightly. Our arrests saw a noticeable increase from 4 arrests in February up to a total of 13 arrests in the month of March. Our domestic violence incidences remained consistent for the month at 12, and our bias incidents remained unchanged. As for our motor vehicle accidents, unfortunately, they remain steady with 22 accidents reported in the month of March compared to 21 in the month of February. From an operational standpoint, I would say our officers handled several significant incidences, including disturbances. We had a missing juvenile that was safely located, and investigations also tied a stolen motor vehicle, which ended up being connected to a larger theft network. On the community side of things, we continue to work with our schools with e-bike safety presentations. We had lead instruction kickoff, and we also conducted CPR training for students. I also met with the religious leaders in the month of March, and that continued to, it's going to continue to strengthen our communication with our community-based leadership. Additionally, the department is currently moving forward with intergovernmental process to fill one officer vacancy. We currently have 3 potential candidates, and the process itself is, as you know, is very extensive, involving thorough background investigation, coordination with multiple agencies, and several levels of review before getting to that final selection. But overall, the department remained proactive, visible, and responsive while continuing to balance enforcement, investigations, and community engagement. That being said, I just wanted to also bring up a few dates that are going to be coming up on May 6th at 6:30 in the council chambers. The Passaic County Prosecutor, Camila Valdez, along with the Attorney General's office, the Pompton Lakes Police Department, and I'm just getting the other, CBH Care will be having an Arrive Together, what they call an Arrive Together event hosted here. And it'll be an open conversation, almost like a town hall, open conversation about the Arrive Together program.
What time?
6:30 p.m. And then there should be, within the coming days, a flyer that's going to be distributed by the prosecutor's office and a press release that'll go out. And then the police department is, just to give you an update, is at the final stages of our awards. So we had to, a lot of these awards we haven't given out in a number of years. I can't even remember the last time, or even if we gave out a Valor Award, which used to be our highest award level, but now that's the Medal of Honor that we changed in the ordinance. So we have a few of those, but it's a total of about 18 individuals that are getting awards. So we're just looking for some dates to put together. From what I understand, we would have to have a special council meeting, and I got to coordinate with the Carnival Center. So I was looking at the end of May, or to doing it in May, but the Carnival Center is completely booked, and there's some conflicts, I think, with council meetings, some other stuff going on. So it's looking like we're going to have to go with the month of June. So I'm going to work with Liz and the borough administrator.
And school, right? You got a lot of stuff going on with school.
Yes, to put out some dates. But basically, the whole process took a little time because we had to make up some of these awards and then get them made, put them together, as the ordinance requires a certificate, a plaque, and the actual award. So that is all done now. I'm in the process of getting all that framed, put together, but I should have that done by the end of the month or in May. But either way, I'm hoping to get some dates out to you tomorrow, because I know it's a lot to coordinate everybody up here for a special meeting. So, but it's looking at, unfortunately, it's going to be June. the beginning of June, either that first or second week possibly. But I'll send some dates over and hopefully we can coordinate.
Okay. Just one thing I have is, I know we have cameras, we're lucky to put the cameras up. I'm starting to see a little bit of tagging and graffiti on certain things. I can tell you a gentleman parked a larger boat over at the old gas station across from Lidl. It was only there one night. They graffitied the whole thing. I see it over on Thatcher's now, on the Stoops. If we see it on the camera, I want to make an example out of those people, even if they're young kids, do whatever we got to do, but make them understand we're not accepting that it can happen in this town. So let's stay on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. If we, like anything else, if we catch them, especially an act on the cameras, we're going to go respond and definitely do what we have to do and enforce our laws.
Any questions for the chief?
Yeah, on the e-bike safety, the final date that everybody has to have their bikes registered and insured, and that they have to wear helmets and all that, is June?
So I thought they gave everybody a year. Could be they gave the business owners a year to have the registrations, where they have to give out the registrations. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact date that it becomes law or compliant, but I can send you that as soon as I leave here. It could be June, but I just don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Speak on the seniors? You had a nice visit with the seniors?
Yes. I forgot to speak on that. We definitely had a very good, productive meeting with the seniors. We had a pretty good turnout, I would say.
Yeah.
I brought along the Detective Bureau. Detective Sergeant Cottrell, who's in the audience, was there, along with Detective Zaku. But it was good. I was able to, introduce myself to them. We ended up having a larger conversation on some scams that have been prevalent in the area, what to look out for, what to do, what not to do, but to, basically follow their instinct. If they feel like something's wrong, slow it down, because they want to create that sense of urgency with them on the phone so that they can give them money or get money to them. Our advice to them was to slow it down, hang up. You can always call us, and we will come out and help them out. Sergeant Cottrell also talked to them at length about some of the things to look out for, and then we handed out some packets for each person that was there to go over and to look at. But it was definitely a productive meeting. Got asked a bunch of questions, and overall it went well.
Yeah, we want to thank you and the officers for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for
The mayor
having
was
us.
invited too, but he couldn't make it. Hopefully he can make the next meeting.
I'll try to get to my next senior meeting. I am a member.
Yes, you are.
Sitting member.
We know you are.
Okay.
Mayor, real quick, back on the graffiti thing. So the broken windows theory, you're familiar with the broken windows theory.
Yes.
Leave a window broken, you don't fix it, then like in cities that fall apart. So there's graffiti on the side of the theater downtown. I've noticed it for a couple months now. If we can reach out to the business owner, please, and see if we can get that fixed. So I feel that that's been out there for a while. If we were to have gotten on top of that, and anything else that comes across, I remember being a Class 2 special in Haledon, and that came, it was brought up, and they jumped right on it. They weren't gonna let it sit.
Yeah.
And I feel we've let it sit for a little too long.
Yeah,
outside of
I
that building.
feel like we've made notifications to them in the past too. I don't know if they've not been
I don't know if property
responsive.
maintenance needs to get
So
involved.
no, I can tell, I know Sue can address this too, that one side of that building is the cleaners, which nobody owns, right? And the other side is the bank, I think. Is it the bank? So we've reached out, and they have painted it a couple times, but what you're asking is two different things. You're asking for enforcement for the graffiti, and then the bid, they're not gonna be responsible for.
I'm asking for it to be painted over.
Well, that's not
Whoever
gonna be
does it,
enforced.
however they do
It's
it.
not gonna be us, it's private property.
Understood,
So it's gotta be the business owner.
but it can't be left there for much longer.
Right, so I know the bid has reached out numerous times to try to get it done. It's been brought up at bid meetings. That's the best we can do. I mean, we can't make them do it. I don't know if there's an ordinance against it, is there?
Mayor, if I may, we received an email yesterday from Abel Gomez of the
Okay,
Pompton Lakes
perfect.
bid. We directed Sal and John Lindberg, our property maintenance officer, to go out. The direct complaint was with the former Smiling Rhino Theater, so we did dispatch John to go look at that. Probably a notice of violation has been issued, and then the property owner will be required to clean it up as soon as possible. But I'll send an email to follow up.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. I did speak to, briefly, the attorney that's representing, the auto body place on Cannonball Road. Good conversation with them, so it appears that, I know they were issued some summonses, but it looks like they're looking to clean up the matter and get it taken care of so we don't have future problems.
I would almost say if it becomes an issue and it's an attorney speaking, we can almost have him reach out to our attorney, right?
Yeah.
Just to have that conversation, because sometimes.
I'm not sure what was the issue,
Well,
the zoning issue?
Yeah, it was,
Code compliance?
So there was a couple of different issues, but I think the summonses that were issued were due to zoning issues and having, I think more vehicles on almost having like a junkyard on the property. I might be misspeaking, but it was somewhere along those lines, but they were issued some summonses.
Yeah, sure, I mean, I'm available if I'm.
Yeah, only because when an attorney starts to get involved, that means that we should get our attorney.
Yeah, we happened to have a conversation on an unrelated matter, and he happened to mention it, that he was gonna end up coming here and I guess talking to the borough about
All
it,
right,
but I just
that's
wanted to give the delay that
Okay.
they're trying to address it.
Any other questions? No, okay. Closed session. Oh, no, workshop, I'm sorry, workshop.
Thank you, Mayor. So as part of our ordinance committee meeting that occurred in March last month, I know that the borough attorney has produced several draft ordinances as a result of that meeting regarding parking, wildlife, chickens, among many other things. So as we start to digest that and bring that forth to the governing body with the ordinance committee's recommendations, the first and fairly simple ordinance that we have relates to wild animals and the feeding of same. So the draft ordinance that you have before you is a state template that's prescribed by the state, and basically defines or further defines what the definition of a wild animal is. The existing ordinance defined it as all animals that are neither human nor domesticated, but we took it a step further to identify waterfowl, which again is any bird that frequents the water or lives about rivers, lakes, etc., or near the sea. And we also talk about, again, defining what a wild animal is, including bears, coyotes, deer, feral cats, foxes, among many other things. So again, the issue at hand that the ordinance committee discussed is there are residents and visitors within Pompton Lakes feeding these wild animals both on public and private properties. We do have signage on it. We are educating the public, but we do have this problem that we're looking to enforce. So I'll defer to Mark on any other comments, but we're looking for your consent on the ordinance as proposed.
So some of the issues we're having, for if everybody else understands, on private property, some people are putting out full 40-pound bags of deer feed every night, okay? And think about the crowd that's dragging in of deer, right? So we'll educate, and if they don't want to follow, convince, and then if they don't want to convince, it will be ticketed. That has to be, because it's not fair to the other neighbors who live around these properties that are doing this. And unfortunately, I brought up the geese, but, that's what brings the geese in from other communities, is free food coming out, just throwing food to them all the time. We don't want them. Most people don't realize, probably 10, 12 years ago, we had a boy who passed away who played soccer, was at the high school back when we had a grass field. He got an infection in his leg from geese droppings on thing, and he passed away from it. This is serious stuff. So we do want to keep the droppings off all our ball fields and all our areas and all our public spots. So I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way, and I think that's what we're here to discuss. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time to pick it up.
Yeah, I did see something about the bird feeders, and how's that going to affect? Because when the birds come, they do make a mess out of bird feeders, and how would that deteriorate the wildlife to,
The bird feeders are exempt because they're not targeting fowl.
okay.
So there, there will be some, I guess, crossover, but we didn't want to overly regulate it. We are consistent with the state statute, and our ordinance definitely needed to be upgraded because originally it was only regulating public property, not private property as well, which the state statute permits. So I think that it's a pretty good balance, and yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better.
Anybody have any concerns with private property?
Yes,
You do?
I do.
Go ahead.
There are a number of people who feed the deer on private property in my neighborhood, and they are concerned. They're very kind-hearted people, and the problem is they feed them because they starve, and we're not having a hunt. They're already here, and now they're going into winter. They're very limited food sources, and they don't want to see them starve.
But
and
feeding them makes them starve.
But they don't feel that way.
Yeah, but I understand, but science shows that when you feed the animals in the off-season, it makes them starve when they can't find the free food anymore.
And it creates the ability to breed and make more deer, which then in turn starve, and it creates a cycle.
No, I understand the science of it. I mean, I really do. But I do know that their kind-heartedness.
I'm sure they are.
Oh yeah, is very real, and they just don't, because we're not having a deer hunt. We don't have a cull, and
We could.
well, we don't. And I mean, we're not even talking about that. We're talking basically, feeding an animal, and they don't want to watch them starve to death when there's snow and so on like that. So I think you're going to have some kickback on that. I think you're going to have a lot, because there are a lot of people who actually do feed the deer on their property.
But it's not fair to the neighbor who lives next to them,
Well,
who doesn't want the deer on their property.
Oh, I understood, and we have herds. I mean,
You have herds,
we have herds, and
We had that issue on my block. Somebody was continuing to feed the deer, and now we can't get them off of Scholar Ave.
But now you have a lot of animals, and they'll be running around, skin and bone, and that makes people very angry that that they're looking at this every day.
But that's nature.
But I think, well,
but, I know about
right?
what's gonna happen though too, the deer are gonna start to eat plants.
Well, they do.
And
yeah.
now what happens is the younger generation, the deer are eating plants that they never ate, because the younger generation are eating everything. So I know green giants were never attacked. Now they're getting destroyed.
That's green giant arborvitae.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Shrub.
And they're getting destroyed now. That was a plant that you could plant all the time, and now, in the wintertime, that's what the deer are feeding on.
The problem is overpopulation, and by the residents feeding them on their own property,
Encouraging.
it's getting them through the winter where the good Lord would have taken them in a rough winter, but they're getting them through the winter, and now you're having more and more population. There's nothing for them to eat any longer in the woods anymore. Evan DeLevio, we did a survey of Pompton Lakes woodlands. There is absolutely no tree regrowth in our woodlands anymore. We're gonna have a deer count coming up. Hopefully it's after they drop their fawns so that we get an accurate count. We have an overpopulation problem, and God bless those people who are feeding them. But that's not their natural food. When they're feeding them corn, there's no cornfields around here. It's not their natural food. And when they eat too much corn, they end up getting, scientifically fact, they get diarrhea. And when they get a cold spell coming in, you think you're doing them a service, but when they get diarrhea, extreme cold, they're dying off in the woods anyway. Oh, what happened to the little doe? She never came back because she died. So you can't be feeding them as much as these people are paying. I have a big heart, I understand, but you're not doing them a service.
Well, I just don't want to see people getting fined before we have a thorough educational
No, there'll be
program.
steps involved, but I also understand, because I've been through this with other things, there are some people that are just not going to accept that they can't do it.
Right.
And no matter if you educate them, or if you give them a warning, or if you do all those things, they're gonna say, I'm gonna do it anyway. At that point, they're gonna get fined. That's just the way it is. It's like speeding. You're gonna get a warning, you keep doing it, you're gonna get a ticket. You know, there will be some people that listen to the education, I'm sure. And I understand, you know, there are people, the stray cats, for example, this is becoming a real issue with the stray cats right
Feral
now.
cats.
And we have people taking them in and trying to get them adopted by people, but these are cats that are horrible cats to be pets, and they're not good to be caged in a house. But in their heart, they think they're doing the right thing by doing it this way. That doesn't mean it's right, it just means that's what they think is right. I think as a council, we're gonna make a decision that we think is best for the population of the town, and there will be people who will be unhappy with that, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good compromise. You can't put out 40 pounds of food and have 30 deer standing in your front yard, and when the guy next door is saying, I have young children and I'm worried about disease. He has the right to say that also.
That's right. Plus, that much corn will attract rats.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had a problem with the coyote up there too, because, you know, we have large lots, and one of the things that I was actually reading, people were trying to name these animals, and you know, I mean, they're dangerous to children, they're dangerous to your dogs. And when we talked to the wildlife, the state wildlife guy, they said, well, they're a nuisance. A nuisance. I said, well, you're not gonna come and do anything? They go, no, not unless they dig a hole or they start.
Well, it's also on private property, so if they have to threaten, it's a whole involved thing.
Right,
And you
but,
gotta realize also, the coyotes are coming back because the deer are a food source.
That is true.
The more deer you have, it attracts more coyotes.
So
Many years ago-
I hear you, and I understand, and there's gonna be people unhappy.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we all know, I've been doing this long enough, you're never making everybody happy all the time.
no, I understand that.
Many years ago, I brought in Dr. Emil DeVito
Yep,
from the New Jersey Conservation Foundation, and he gave a presentation here.
it was at the ABC meeting.
Right. And so, I mean, if you want us to bring him back in again, I can call him.
He won't come.
You know I had a conversation with him as
He
well.
won't come, right?
Yeah, I was on the phone for at least a half hour with him.
And he won't come?
No, we're
No,
not
he
serious.
actually, I mean, I don't want to get off topic. He was giving me places if we wanted to have a call in town where we could have it.
Okay.
So let's talk about what we're asking right now. So I'm gonna do a straw poll now to see how we move forward with this. And saying that, anytime we make any decisions, 100% is not gonna be happy, we know that, right? It's just trying to do what's the best for the community. We all know Lyme disease, tick disease, all these things are part of the deer population. And if I have young children and my neighbor's feeding deer, I'm gonna be, if that was me, I'd be very upset, saying, I don't wanna take a chance that my child gets sick. Just because you wanna see the deer eating. If they wanna eat naturally, then I can't stop that, but making them come to my house is a different thing, and that's how I'm looking. You're making the deer come to your house to do that. They're not just roaming around, they know there's free food, I'll be there. You know, that's the deal.
They're bedding down every night.
So I'll start on this end, how do you feel?
I guess I agree, on the ordinance of no feeding.
No, I definitely agree.
Like I said when we did the tree ordinance, what you do on your property affects your neighbors. You're not in a large, huge property where you're by yourself for miles and miles, so I'm good with the ordinance.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a reservation on it.
So it was a yes or no? It's a no.
Not right now.
Okay.
Not the way it's, unless I see a change on education and a timing on when you're gonna start.
Well, there will be, education will be part of
I'll
this, no
take a look,
question.
I'm gonna take a more thorough look at that.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I know it needs to be done, but the aspect of it is if we do pass this, it's up to the chief and his officers
Yes.
whether or not they're gonna hand a ticket out. Now, I know the chief has talked plenty of times, it's the discretion of the officer. So, I mean, it's meaningless.
No, let's discuss
If they're
this,
not gonna
and I'm
give
sure
you-
he's gonna say the same thing I'm gonna say. It's not straight to a ticket.
If
You're not going to jail
if
for
I
feeding
may
deer.
just intervene for a sec, the enforcing authority is the health department, animal control officer, and the police department. So I think the animal control officer will take the lead on this, with the health department and police backing up, but we'll certainly talk about it.
And I think where the police will come involved is if they constantly say, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to keep feeding, and the health department, they can write their own ticket by themselves. But if they want a little backing behind them, they might say, can a police officer come along with me because I'm going to write a ticket now, he won't listen. I can tell you our animal control person tries to work with the residents as best as she can. She's never just going straight to ticket. She talks to them, she educates them, she gives them a chance. Hopefully they change it. If they don't, she'll even give them another chance. Then it'll be a small ticket just to make you come on board. If you're not going to say, if you're saying no all the way through, that's what's going to end up. I don't know if you want anything, Chief.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to, you know, when we start going, when the police department starts going on people's, you know, private property, there's just concerns or red flags that I see in that for me. So I don't know enough yet about this ordinance or enough to give a, you know, an educated decision on it, but I just, I would have to look into it more on private property. I totally
Well, let's use an
understand.
example, if someone's doing it in the front yard and you're driving down the street and you see the bag of feed there, you're probably going to call the animal control and say, hey, look, you noticed this. She's going to go over and have the discussion and say, look, we have an ordinance, you're probably not aware of it. This is what we're doing, you can't do this. Well, I'm going to give you 2 weeks to clean it all up. I'll come back and everything's good. There'll be no issues.
Yeah, I think it's a big difference as to whether if they're putting it out right in the front of their house, on their front lawn meant for that, as opposed to we're getting calls now for a neighbor because, hey, my neighbor's putting out food in the backyard to feed whatever. I mean, because let's say you have a dog, he's got cats, like I'm feeding my own pets. It's in the backyard, like, so.
Well, if that was the case, Chief, I think that it would have to go to the animal control officer or the health department. They'd have to get an administrative warrant.
Yes.
From the municipal court. So, yeah, I mean,
So
there's a
these are
difference,
the things
there's a
that I-
difference if it's readily observable or if
Exactly.
it's a report. But, you know, we certainly could give them guidance on that and help them get the administrative warrant if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
And I think by far the biggest thing, and I think our council president brought this up, is education, right? We're going to educate the public
Absolutely.
about this. This is not drive this way and then they get a ticket. There'll be a lot of education, a lot of posting, a lot of talking to people about it, make them try to understand that I understand that you feel this way, but maybe your neighbor is nervous that they don't want the deer there. You've got to be mindful of the people surrounding you, at the end of the day. So it's education.
But we can certainly going to be there to document it, call, and like you said, if we see it, because I do believe in situations like we're talking about where they're putting the feed out on the front lawn, especially where even, you're talking, let's say, Van and Pompton Ave over there, brings a lot of deer there, but there's a lot of cars. So now you have the influx of deer running across the street at night. We don't want motor vehicle accidents and things of that nature too. So I think there's that aspect of public safety too, when you're bringing those deers to those high travel areas. And now they're, not that they don't cross the street there on their own, but why bring them there if we don't have
No,
to?
and it's also unfortunate, we had a police officer die after a shift because he got into an accident with a deer cub.
100%.
So,
100%.
All right, so you got some moving powers to go there. The other option is we give Councilman Hinton a gun and just let him go around town.
You don't have to give me one.
And he shoots at will.
No.
Okay. Okay, motion to open the meeting for public comments.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second.
Councilman Hinton? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments.
motion.
Second.
Councilman Vague, Councilman Santos, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, I'd just like to remind everybody that this week starts the spring cleanup for the DPW, so there'll be one garbage pickup. And then the second garbage pickup will be branches and leaves. That goes on for a couple months, and then we'll switch back to 2 garbage. Keep that in mind. Motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, privilege of the floor. I'm sorry, privilege of the floor. None? Okay, motion to adjourn into closed session.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Denon, Council President Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, everyone.
AJ, real quick, Sue.
In closed session, It's open? Okay. In closed session, we discussed personnel and litigation. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Sanders, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes? Okay. Thanks, guys.